aka Savage Armor Jim Giraffa, Doctor of Rose Island. And we're here today to talk about Premium Collection, part one of two. We're going to be talking about everything what we think about the Premium Collection 2020 because let's be real, this set has been a real roller coaster. I have two special guests today.
Hi, I'm Ezel Sempai. This was my idea. I'm also recording this. Go check out my channel. It might be in part 2. Yeah, no.
What the?
What? What? What?
Oh, this is hilarious.
You want to fight about it? Wait till lockdown's over. So Mr. Zoo Nation and I, we're recording this separately, we're recording it together. So he's got this recording. I also have it. So we're content creators, apparently.
Yeah.
So what we're doing today is we're just talking about three nations at the moment. We're talking about everything from United Santurary, Giant Empire, and Stargate. That's part one. So part two is the rest of it, and then maybe part three we'll talk about Prey Elementals and what a shitstorm that is.
Oh god.
Pun intended.
Why do I get the feeling this is like a Yu-Gi-Oh thing? You know, when people do deck profiles and you have like.
No. If this was a Yu-Gi-Oh thing, you'd be like, yo, this is Team Ninja Y with the.
God. I like how we're
with the best deck profile ever. No one else has this except thousands of other people, but this is the best one.
Oh my god.
Today we're going to have the Cali Games X going against Team APS.
No, don't.
See, we're just down to earth, and then there's this guy.
Alright, so what's up everyone, I'm the admin of the Chaos Breaker page, and jeez. This is going to be an interesting roller coaster for going over Premium Collection stuff, in my personal opinion, so, yeah.
Alright, so, as Ezel Sempai said, we're definitely going to be going against three of them. Because there's like, let's see, we have 6 clans in United Sanctuary, 5 clans in Dragonic Empire, and what is it, 3 clans in Stargate, because Starverse isn't a thing yet.
Unionverse, yeah.
Yeah, Unionverse.
Not yet. Just wait for the series after if.
Right.
Just wait for them to redo the G series, and they'll be like, okay, here you go. Here's Shooting Stars. Boom.
So.
Ah, man.
Yeah, and then there's 3 in there, so that's a total of 14 clans. So we're pretty much going to try to go through each slide and like try to talk about it like as small as possible, because we do have like a lot of stuff to talk about, and there's like 3 people here, so
I will go for as long as we have to, but I mean I think we can do it. I mean we're just gonna give every card a rating out of 10. Each of us will have our own rating, and then you guys can just kind of take that as you will. I mean, I'm pretty sure some of us have played these clans. I mean, obviously, because I'm totally a Royal Paladin player.
I mean, I am, in a sense. I might
become one.
You might become one.
Yeah, I mean, I kept Royals blasters, so and I'm getting the Legend decks, or the special series set, so might as well.
I told a lot of people that I would possibly come back and Royal Paladin if they bring Jewel Knights back.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like that. A lot of people are just like, yo, give me Jewel Knights and I'll play again.
Because Blaster Blade is boring, that's why.
And Altmile has abs. I mean, obviously, you're appealing to a certain demographic, but aside from, let's just let's just jump into it.
Alright, so
Right.
of course, yeah, we're starting with World Boys. So Holy Dragon, Crystal Luster Dragon. Cluster fucking dragon.
Oh, we can curse.
Oh, we're just going. We just going straight to royals in this one, huh? Okay.
Well, I mean, we're going down the list, so that way everyone listening can pull up the wiki on the site and be like, okay, so they're talking about this, they're going to go in this order, they know exactly where we're going to stop, and they can probably predict what jokes we're going to make.
I mean, it's all like, to be honest, like, Royal Paladins is like the Ryu of like Vanguard. It's like the most basic thing.
Very basic.
So, wait, when you're recording, while you guys are recording this, you can see what background picture I'm putting, right?
No, we're just I'm recording on Audacity.
Yeah,
so
I'm just recording
it's just picking up.
It's just audio. Okay. Damn it.
You putting up your fun backgrounds, trying to distract us. How dare you? And you're a teacher, for God's sake, trying to distract people.
Hey, that tells me whether you're paying attention or not.
Damn it.
That or trying to be like the Robin Williams character from Dead Poet Society. Oh, Captain, my Captain. So what this card does. So act on Vanguard Circle once per turn. Toss turn card from your G-Zone face up. And until the end of the turn, this card gets all the original abilities of your Heart card. And then continuous on Vanguard Circle, Generation Break 3. If you have 3 or more Grade 2 or greater units, when this unit when your opponent would call cards from his or her hand, he or she must call 3 or more cards at the same time. So, what do we think? Does that opinions? Or did the call drop? No, it didn't drop.
No,
okay.
We're good.
So, I did talk about this when like they got announced, and I was actually pretty excited because I was like, yo, this actually makes Gansalot pretty good compared to like how it was in Standard where it really wasn't that good. This makes it 10 times better. But I also do want to. This is kind of sort of the reason why I kind of want to try Royal Paladins out in Premium, because I want to try to see like how good Soul Saber Paladin Maidens will be because of this card.
That's probably the most original thought I've heard about this card in terms of combo. Because, like, for me, all I heard was Thing Saber, Legion, Gansalot. I'm just like, okay, yeah, I mean, sure, I guess. But hearing Soul Saver with Palamedes, good. I'm very happy about
I mean, the one thing that came into my mind was like, Majesty Lord, let's go!
Oh, that's right. MLB. The good MLB.
And it's quad drive! I'm like, quad drive, baby!
I welcome that.
Yeah.
When I play Nubatama, I welcome that.
Yeah, well, that's if you you have to shove in 2 of your own cards. You won't have any of my cards to shove in.
Doesn't not matter.
Because we want those force monkeys.
But I mean, this card could be used in a lot of different cases. Like, I think this card is perfect for anybody who's playing Standard that just wants to kind of get a G-Zone going. Like you were saying with the Soul Saver Palamedes build, like this card's really good for people called it Standard Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys heard that?
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel
that.
like the stride wise is more geared. It gears towards Standard Plus decks. Period. Like that's just how I think they're trying to promote this idea or this whole premium collection is. Oh, you play Standard. So here's premium, and yes, we know you're not a big fan or something, and so here's here's something you can use in your standard plus without having to go through such a hard lengths to, grab all the premium stuff. So I think that's just how it works.
I think another part of that is because we're starting to put more standard stuff in premium decks in general. So I guess that's a part of another reason too. Because let's be real, how hard is it to like use a deck that doesn't really have like that much premium, that doesn't have that much standard stuff with it, to be honest.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what would you guys rate this out on a scale of 1 to 10? 1, it's just horrible, bad. Why, just trash. And then 10 is,
Clearly, it's 0 out of 10. I'm just kidding.
I mean, okay, yeah, sure. It's trash that transcends trash.
Yes.
So it's on a whole other plane. I get it. So, yeah. Okay.
No, in my opinion, I like it. Probably like 9 out of 10. Like, for me, it's like a 9 out of 10 because of the fact that, you're copying the skill of your heart, and then you got the guard restrict in GB3. Like, that's pretty strong, You can kind of pull that off pretty easily in Royals, and if you build it right, it's just dumb. It's pretty dumb how that works.
Not to mention the combos with the Prey Elementals or the order cards. We'll get into that in part 3 or part 2.
We don't do that here. We don't do that here. We don't mention Zazan here.
Wakanda.
We mentioned the order. We mentioned the order card, but we don't mention Zazan here. we don't do that here.
I think personally I would give this a 7 out of 10, just because like the Guard Restrict's really good. But I mean, and don't get me wrong, the copying the heart skill is really good, but you're limited to whatever your heart is. Now, of course, I mean, you have, Majesty or Blaster, you've got Alt Mile, you have Ganslot, you have whatever grade 3 with a Force Marker to use, but I think that's kind of the limit. So, I mean, obviously they're good in their own right, so, but I think 7 out of 10 is where I'm kind of sitting at. It just depends on what you write into, what your boss grade 3 is, and is it something that you actually want to have going on, like Monarch Alfred, for instance. Like this works pretty well with Monarch.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Blaster Blade gains more power, because why not? Blaster Blade. But
right.
Yes, I think 7 out of 10 for me is about right. There's room for improvement.
I'll give it an 8 out of 10 because let's be real. Prior to this card, like Royal Paladins didn't really have a place in premium. Like it had it when like the whole format split first started, and then it just like fell down.
Right.
But this card alone gives it a presence.
Right. I mean, and that's what I feel like that's why it's pretty good. I feel like.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next card.
Is it OTT?
Yeah, it is OTT.
Oh, Sterling Rich Momo Queen.
Mama. So, what did it do again?
I did the last one, so.
Alright, so.
We can say turns.
Okay, so
I'll do it.
Oh, you going to do it this one?
No, I'll do the next one. Okay. Go for it. Yeah.
So, Auto Vanguard Circle, once per turn, when it attacks, calls Counterblast 1 and turn a card from your G-Zone face up. This card up to 3 cards in your hand, and for each card discarded, 3 of your front row units get power 10k to the end of the turn. If you discarded 3 cards at the end of the battle, stand this unit and it gets -2 drive.
Bro, it's a restander.
In OTT.
Yeah.
If there was any clan that was going to get a restander, I would have never thought it would have been OTT.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was expecting a guard restrict or some crap.
So we had that with the last card.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like, 1/4 of this set is like guard restricts.
Yeah, yeah. But most of them require like a specific requirement, like GB3 or some weird thing. So I mean, there's like a cost to it at least. In my opinion, with Momo, it's a good addition. It's interesting because for each card discarded, 3 of your front row gets +10, so potentially 30,000 power to the front row. I was like, holy crap, that's a lot of power. That's just, it makes it where each card you discard is a trigger, no matter what. That's how I looked at it. It was like, or no, each card you discarded is the front row trigger.
There you go.
Trigger. There you go. Yeah. I was like, wait.
I was about to say, I'm like, it's a front.
It's a front trigger. Well, I mean, like 3 triggers. I didn't specify front, but yeah, 3 front triggers going off. So that's pretty powerful, and especially like on a decent crazy turn, if you're going for like Silent Tom or something, you know, having a restanding Vanguard that can swing for 57 non-boosted, you know, before triggers, it's pretty dumb. But the down part about this card is the fact that you have to have the 3 cards in your hand prior to doing the effect. Or otherwise, you know, if your hand is ripped apart, it's probably, like, that's the downside to this card, which is fine because that's fair. You know, it's not, oh, at the end of the battle, then you discard 3 and do all this. You have to do it right beforehand to get the effect.
Right.
So they can't just like, oh, I'm just going to dump my hand and then swing, ditch 3, then do it again. You know, it's not that, thankfully. So they have to like be very careful when they do it.
Like, this card really combos well with the rares that came out from set 5. The ones for Tsukiyomi, technically.
Yeah.
You guys know where it is. Hey, Future Me, put those cards on screen. These cards.
Yeah,
these 2 cards.
I think it was the grade 1 that discards and you can draw a card or something for a soul blast or something, or a counter blast. I forgot which one it was, but yeah, I know what you're talking about too. Yeah, it's an aerial steed or something. Yeah. They're double rares.
No, I think they're regular rares.
I thought one of them was a double.
They're angels. Future Me is just laughing now because it's like.
I will tell you this: Maiden of Libra is just a pure discard.
I wasn't talking about that one. It's like it's this pair of angels. Like they're rares. One's a grade 1, one's a grade 2, and they have a skill that activates when they're discarded. You know, screw it. Let me go look this up. Oh my god. Well, Future Me is like, I already did this. I'm already doing this.
I mean, usually that's how it works, right? Pretty sure besides Armoro, or I mean not Armoro. Why do I keep saying Armoros? Libra. Libra. I'm pretty sure there was like one other.
Okay. It was Convoy Angel and Diviner Angel.
Oh.
And I guess technically this card also works with the Fusili Magus. Technically.
Is this an aerial steed?
Yeah.
Huh. Why do I not see it here? Unless they're sold out. I'll be very surprised.
I don't think so. They're still here on the market.
I haven't heard anybody like
buying them out until now. Dun dun dun. Or was that?
Man, those comms are gonna be like hella beefy though, because like you gotta realize that this is what is this? This is trigger stack the clan.
I mean OTT's been known for that.
Yeah, but it's gonna get this prior to all the triggers, and then you also have to deal with and then of course you have to deal with the drive checks. So
right.
If done right, 90% of the time, at least two of the three is going. Yeah, at least two of the three of the drive check is going to hit triggers.
I mean, it also kind of depends on what skills you've activated prior to starting into this card. Like that one cat that apparently needs to be banned. I don't know the name. I'm not going to say the name.
Magical. Magical.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's
which I have 30 some odd copies. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, like, dude, list them up now. Start your pluses. So what would we rate this?
Try.
Oh, I didn't say my piece on it.
Yeah, you did.
I gotta say my piece. So yeah, no, this definitely fills the niche for OTT. It's something that they don't have, and it's very very unique to them. Can you imagine just setting up like a Silent Toms? Kind of just attacking rear guards with them, attacking with this, using the skill. Oh hey, 30 to the front row, stand trigger, and anything else.
Jeez. Or they just go, activate skill, pitch 3, front row plus 30k. Okay, crit, drive check the last one, crit again. That's like. Die.
There you go.
Just set that up with deer. Ugh.
Oh man, this with deer would actually be really cool. But the fact that this card could be a first stride is really good.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I would actually give this an 8 out of 10.
I want to say about the same, 7 or 8 out of 10, somewhere around there, because there's not really a hard number for that one. Like, I like the effect. At the same time, people are gonna complain that, I have to have 3 cards prior to, doing
but
this. Whereas,
it's OTT.
Exactly. It's like you got hand.
You either have hand or you lose.
Unless you won't get jump
Yeah. So yeah, they can't complain, to be perfectly honest. So 8 out of 10. Sorry, 7.5. Let's go 7.5. Right.
7.5. Okay, we can do that. 7.5.
I'm definitely going 8 out of 10. Like, if this card will be the thing that I don't have to deal with each time, then I would rather deal with this card than each time.
Soon you won't have to deal with Ichitan when you just deal with.
Oh my god, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, what's Ichitan when you go Calico? Yeah. So next one.
Yep, let's move on. You got it?
Do you mind me going for the other instead of going for the Angel? I want to go Genesis, and then we go Angel. Do you mind?
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go Genesis, and then we'll work our way back up.
Yeah.
Because then I get to do gold, so that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so Genesis, hero deity of Zenith, Marduk. I feel like he took the name from Ultima Zenith. But yeah, no, like that's the first thing I was like, Zenith, what the heck? Is he a relationship? Does he have is he a relative? So his effect is auto G zone in the G zone. When your Vanguard attacks, if your Vanguard is grade 3, counterblast 1 and soul blast 6, stride this card on your Vanguard circle from face down as rest. It gains the power and critical that one of your heart cards has gotten from trigger effects this turn, and change the attacking unit for this battle to be this unit. So what this means is, you swing with Vanguard, you superior stride, and it's considered as the attacker rather than your actual Vanguard, or the grade 3. So you get like a first stride when your opponent's at grade 2. My thoughts immediately when I saw this was, let's go high roll. Let's go high roll. And for people who don't know what high roll is in Genesis, you just go Valkyrian high roll. Yeah. That's my main opinion, is using it in Valkyrian and everything. It's very, very strong. So I want to say, rating wise, 8 out of 10, just because of the fact that I play high roll and I love it. This card is pretty dumb when you can pull it off on your grade 3 turn.
What did you say it was?
8 out of 10. I'm gonna put 8 out of 10 for him. So, yeah.
Okay. You got an opinion? Oh, I'll go. I do like this card. I like a good chunk of all these cards. So you're gonna get tired of me saying, "Oh, I like this card." This card is very interesting because it is just one of those. Oh, hey, you just stride from a G zone after battle. Hey, that's great. I think in Genesis there is a way to build up the soul really, really fast, especially in Premium. So I think that would really complement the Valkyrion Uranus deck very well.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Yeah, no, it's pretty cool, and especially in later during the game, if your soul's big enough. Can you imagine this with all those force markers? It's big boy power.
But stand trigger, 5 drive stand trigger, just restanding that Valkyrian.
I was about to get to that.
I mean, you keep going more for that, so I was just like...
Well, I mean, obviously that's kind of what you'd want to do. Like, you could play that with, like, Dreaming Dragon to put your drop zone back, and, oh hey, here we go, let's carry on. Whoosh! Torment! So I think for that, I would agree. I think, well, I mean, I think the one issue is that Soul Blast 6.
That's not an issue.
It's okay.
It really isn't. Because remember, Valkyrian drive check, they all go into Soul.
Oh, that's right.
And if you restand Valkyrian, you attack again, you drive check again, all that stuff is gonna go into Soul again.
So yeah, that's an 8 out of 10 for me. Because I just got educated. There we go.
You got educated.
Yeah.
Alright, so, in my honest opinion, this effect is stupid because of the Valkyrian thing, which everybody was over there celebrating. Oh yeah, they banned Katrina. Y'all do not realize the cheese that's about to come with Valkyrian and stand triggers. Like, Valkyrian and stand triggers should not be a thing. And I know that you're not always going to hit the stand triggers, but the fact that it happened, and I've seen videos of people actually doing this, the fact that it can happen is the issue.
Dude, 10 stand triggers. So good. 10 stand triggers. So good. So good, man.
This is basically
so 10 stand, 2 crit, 4 heal. Boom.
No. Just
10 stand,
2 draw.
Oh.
10 stand, 2 draw, 4 heal. You just go force 2.
Yeah, that's true.
You stack the three Force 2s on the van, on ride the grade 3, give the Force 2 on Valkyrian Circle, and then every time you swing with Valkyrian 70k, it's 2 crit, and you restand it, 2 crit again, restand it, 2 crit again. There's no point in getting extra power when you can just keep swinging for 2 crit every time.
Exactly.
Vanguard doesn't matter. Like, Vanguard doesn't matter. Vanguard can swing for 2 crit, and it'd still be fine.
Broken.
Because remember, you're striding into a 28 2 crit.
That's true.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's broken. You need setup for it. And one thing, like when we talked about Cadro versus Genesis in the past in Premium, is Genesis will lose to the field disruption.
If Cadro goes first, yes.
Yeah, well, yeah, if Cadro goes first, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
If they go second, they have no way.
If Cadro goes second against this, Genesis just they come in with the coffin dance.
Okay, no. Here's the thing. That's the issue. If it goes against Kagura, but what about the other clans?
Hey, we don't know. This is what
Link
Premium's
Joker
about.
can lock it. Link Joker can lock it.
Okay, every clan that's not a control clan.
Okay, so...
Go on.
So BT? BT is not a control clan.
What can BT do?
BT can superior ride over them.
How much of a difference would that make, though?
Pretty big, in my opinion. It's pretty big.
And how often can they do it?
Pretty consistently. You can be on turn 2 when your opponent's at grade 0.
Ooh.
Let's just say, yeah, Riviere.
Yeah, no, that is.
So
that's
basically, the only answer is control clans and Bermuda Triangle. Those are the only 2 answers.
Ankle Paladin. Ankle Paladin.
How?
They ride up Superior Ride.
It's not as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
We'll get into that once we start talking about prey elements. Because there's been a few ideas floating around, but I won't talk about it just yet.
Yeah. We'll go that route later. But I mean, like, in terms of superior riding, the 2 decks that can do it is Golds and Bermuda. I mean, like, in terms of effectiveness, it can vary for Golds, but Golds has a lot of potential. So, I mean, yes, they lost a lot of their, oomph with Wonder Ezel, but that's fine, because, I mean, if your opponent's still at grade 2 and you get first stride, that it pushes Golds to get the first advantage.
Well, it's not even that. I mean, like, let's say in this hypothetical situation where the Gold Paladin player is able to go to grade 3 first by superior rating, well, hey, when they drop into this, we have access to G-Guards at least.
Yeah,
possibly.
Exactly.
So how would you rate this card?
I would definitely...
With it being broken as hell, apparently.
I have no choice to give it like a 7, because that's a stupid ability. I ain't gonna lie. Like, it brought Valkyrian to a more consistent part in premium format. Even though, technicality, this is just Wise Me Loot 2.0. Like, let's be real on that.
Except
more earlier. It's a lot more earlier game version of, Wise Me Loot. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's technically what it is.
So, okay, 7 out of 10. Not bad. Okay, so now we're going up the list. So let's talk about Gold Paladin. Okay. I'll read the skill, and I still want to talk about it for a moment. So, Golden Dragon, Lambent Dragon. So, Auto Vanguard. When it attacks, put 2 rear guards to the bottom of your deck in any order, and turn a card from your G-Zone face up. Draw 2 cards. Call to 2 cards from your hand, and if you called 2, this card gains critical +1 till the end of that battle.
Yes.
So, even before this card was announced, I had very little I had a very low expectation for Gold Paladin this set, just because of what we got last year with Spirits. You know, I had this thought that, you know, all the good clans, or all the clans that got really good strides last year wouldn't get as good strides this time around. And this is kind of one of those cards that it's kind of like that. I'm not going to say it's bad. I'm standing a crit, you're recycling stuff, and you're drawing something. So you're kind of filtering out your deck a little bit. Depending on what you're doing, you're also whatever cards you call, you can end up shuffling. So you have a couple of options. It's not Spirits. It's a smaller version of Glorious Reigning.
Yep.
But I think for what this card is, it works really well with Aggravating. Really. It's one of those things that's like, hey, you know, you're going to end up top calling triggers or cards you don't want to call. So this is one of those ways to go, oh, hey, I actually kind of want to put this back in my deck. Or, you know, this card will come in handy later. So, you know, I'll go ahead and call it, attack this, send it back, draw 2, call 2, hey, guess what, crit, and 2 more attacks, plus whatever else you may have called out that turn. So this works really well with people who have Aggravate, or even Garmor. This works pretty well with Garmor. Like, this works well with Garmor, this also works well with Sagramore if you have to be there.
This works with Liberators too, weirdly enough.
It does work with Liberators, that's right.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like, just for OG, like, OG decks wise, like, you know, without the gift and stuff, like this, and like even if you put like Bluish Flames, this card's pretty strong for Bluish Flames because hand power, and I mean the deck runs Glorious Reigning anyways, but the problem was they couldn't like bring out a decent field because the Unite was what was restricting it.
But I mean like I'm really happy that, you know, this doesn't have the keyword skill. We'll talk in part 2 about cards that do have keyword skills that still, you know, made it through. But yeah, I mean, I'm a Gold Paladin main, and so I have a slight bias. It's just because it's solely a Gold Paladin.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I understand what people were kind of hoping for. I think people were hoping for something better than Spirits. But Spirits fills its own sort of niche. Me personally, I was hoping for a restandard because we don't have one. We don't have one. I know another friend of mine was thinking something that could work with Spectral Duke. Which I mean, hey, if we were playing, you know, premium, Spectral Duke is a thing.
Sure.
Or I think she wanted more of a like a next stage kind of thing where you attack with it, and then you know, discard or whatever. You do next stage. Okay, here's Spectral Duke. Attack. Do a thing. Hey, restand again.
Right.
But for what this card is, it does fill a small niche. A lot of people say it's really meh, and it kind of is. But I think this is a good kind of in between kind of card. I think eventually, once we get the new Gold Paladin support later this year, people will realize this card's actually really good. So yeah. I will give this a 7.5. 7.5.
Okay. Well, I will admit, I am not going to financially recover from this.
I've only seen a few episodes of it, or like I've caught little bits and pieces of it, and I know the reference. And if you know the reference, I'm sorry. If you don't know the reference, good. You don't want to know. The only good characters on that documentary were the Tigers. Maybe not that one particular one, but the rest of them were fine. They did nothing wrong. So what do you think about this? Since we can't financially recover from it.
Because the one thing that was gonna allow Megacolony to stop it now has a way around it, but outside of that,
Oh, that's right. Well, I think Megacolony, depending on how things go, I mean, you can still go Gridora.
yeah, Ghidorah prevents you from calling anything besides hand. That's why I said
Oh,
I think I can
but
financially recover from this.
right, that's right.
So
So, like, what would you rate it?
I will rate it. It's pretty simple, and yeah, I will admit I kind of agree with you. It is a little bit mad, but it's different from what it's like. It kind of sort of a little bit different from what goals usually do, but at the same time, it kind of brings back a little bit of the old school version. So I guess I can give it like maybe like a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I mean, it's a mini glorious rating. That's kind of how I just looked at it, and anything that lets you kind of cycle things back and getting new stuff back onto the field, helps a lot. I'd probably put this at a it's not 100% strong, but it's really good for what it can do. It's budget or not. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say budget. Well, kind of. Standard plus. Again, this whole set is literally standard plus. So for what it does for golds and standard, then you throw it into premium. I feel like it does help. So probably about a 7 out of 10. It's averaged out pretty well on what it can do, and has a lot of good gimmicks. And people, having to top deck cards and call, hey, well, here's a card that can put those triggers back. So if people complain about, oh, I call nothing but triggers. Well, here you can put them back and get two new cards. So yeah, so that's how I look at it. So 7 out of 10.
Okay, let's move on to the final Paladin card.
Do you want to do it?
I'm left with shadows. Okay.
Unless you want to talk about Angel Feather.
I'll do shadows if you want.
Yeah, I'll talk about Angel Feather.
Okay, I'll go shadows. So the Shadow Paladin card, Dark Dragon, Chain Ranker Dragon.
Hold on. I'm gonna let you finish, but this card's actually called Holy Dragon Crystal Luster Dragon.
Hey. This is this is like Thing Saver with PBD. Thing Saver PBD kind of doing the same old kind of idea. So
Like I said, I'm gonna let you finish.
Not wrong. Turn a card from your G-Zone face up. Until the end of the turn, this unit gets all the original abilities of one of your heart cards. Continuous GB3. If you have 3 or more grade 1s or less units, when your opponent would call from his or her hand, they have to call 3 or more at the same time. There's not much to say besides the fact that it's literally although I kind of graded this 7 out of 10, to be honest. Mostly because it's just a copy-paste. With a weird GB3 requirement. Otherwise, it's not bad. I mean, that's why Revenger Phantom Abyss, got the hype. So, but yeah. And on that note, yeah. So 7 out of 10. On that note, I have a phone call, but you guys can keep going.
All right. So this card came out with Gold Paladin, and I was just kind of like, huh. Okay, Bushy, I see what you're doing here. So you're gonna have these two be identical. Yeah, I got Blam Bent.
Oh, damn.
Why? I mean, I can kind of understand it, because Royals and Shadows had this sort of duality kind of to them, lore-wise, card-wise, whatever. Blaster Blade, Blaster Arc, whatever. But it's just kind of like, okay, Fine, whatever. Yeah, like you were saying, this works really well with everything but Luard. And I remember seeing all the comments like, this doesn't work for Luard. Why doesn't it work for Luard? And it's like, well, there's more Shadow Paladin decks than just that. I mean, again, like, go back to the beginning of the video. Look at what we talked about with Crystal Luster, and just put in Shadow Paladin Grade 3s. That's your answer. I think it would have been cool if they had kind of worded it in a way where it's like, oh, if you have 3 in the like rear guard / drop zone, same with the previous one, like grade 2s on rear and drop. I think that could have made things a bit easier. But I mean, it's just simple. It's a really simple card. It's where'd I give Luster? I gave it a 7. I mean, so just thinking about what grade 3s are available to Shadow Paladin and what they all can do, I think there's a lot more variety, and I think there's a lot more meta relevance with those particular grade 3s versus Shadow Paladin, or versus Royals. So I think I think I like this card more than Crystal Luster, if I'm being completely honest with myself. Because I mean, yeah, I mean it's a copy paste, but you have to think about what card is going to be the heart.
Sure.
You know, yeah, it's not going to be Luard, obviously, but you have Mordred Phantom, you have Claret Sword, you have Phantom Blaster Abyss, you have. Well, those are the top 3 I can think of at the moment. You can probably come up with a few more. Maybe a couple other ones. Maybe a Death Spray Dragon if you're being really budget and very old school. Dark Dictator, Phantom Blaster Dragon. Because why not? Gust Blaster. There, Gust Blaster finally has a Dark Restrict skill.
Bruh.
There we go.
Oh yeah,
like,
when everybody was complaining.
It doesn't have a dragon. So I you know, actually, because of the memes, I actually will give this a 7 out of 5. That extra 5 is because of the memes. But I think there's a lot more stands that could be done with this than the Royal Paladin one, until I'm corrected in the comments.
Okay, yeah, that's true. In my honest opinion, actually, you kind of sort of like said everything else, a little bit of what I was gonna say. But my thing with this is, let's be real. When Luard came out, it basically put a high. It basically gave like a gatekeeping when it came to Shadow Paladins. Like, it was that good. It's so high up on the pedestal. Like, how can you top something where you get a lot of free stuff for no apparent reason? You get a free stride. You get free draws with the critical trigger. With Bella Owl. You get a free PG with I forgot what the name of that PG is.
Esris.
Yeah, with Esris, you get like a free PG like every turn. You get good draw power, free PGs, free strides, and you get like decent attacking power too. It's like, how can you top that? It's like, no matter what comes out, you're just gonna keep defaulting to Luard. And with this stride, it gives everything else that kind of sort of exists a reason to be played. Luard is still, of course, going to be one of the better ones, but it's not. You either play Luard or you die. It's not that easy. You can now play Claret Sword. You can now play, like you said, all the other ones, Buster Blast, Peanut Butter Dragon, and all that other stuff. So you have like newer stuff to try out in Shadow Paladins, besides Noir, and this card definitely gives it. Is it a carbon copy? Yeah. It tried to copy his homework. And, it tried to make itself look different, and it kind of sort of failed at it. But at the same time, it actually helps it out a lot more than you think. Ew, kind of exactly how it helped World Paladins actually become good and clean. This is a fucking comic. Jesus Christ. Okay, overall, I give this unit I'm gonna definitely give this unit like an 8.
An 8. Okay.
I'll give it
All right. I also kind of realized as you're talking, it's not like Blue Ward couldn't use this card. Yeah, you wouldn't really be able to utilize it fully, but the fact that it's not the Morpheus stride that you'd want to go into, but it's another stride that you can go into that you're just trying to push for numbers, or you just push to just drop their hand or something. This card does it with that GV3 skill.
True.
I mean, yeah, you can kind of do that with Morpheus too, and I think Morpheus has a bit more pressure to it. But if you don't want to go into Morpheus so quickly, you could just go into this. But I mean, I guess it's up to the player. I think this card could just be a 1 out of tech.
Which card?
We're talking about we're still talking about Chain Ranker.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the deck, I feel. It really just depends on the deck. But yeah.
So, yeah, let's go ahead and we'll move on to the final United Sanctuary card because we went out of order.
Yeah, I mean, hey.
Yeah,
Might as well go, it's better to go preferences, I feel like, in certain cases.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
So, you got this one?
Yeah, I got it. Holy Seraph Bastasail. I think I'm saying it correctly.
Bastasail. Yeah. Bastasail.
Yeah, Bastasail. Okay. So, Vanguard Circle, Generation Break 3, you win place until the end of the fight, your damage zone becomes 7 cards to lose. If your G zone has 5 or more face-up cards in place, it becomes 8 instead of 7. It also has another ability where you counterblast 4, and until the end of the turn, when your opponent will call cards and enter the Guardian Circle, he or she must call the same number of cards in the damage zone or more at the same time. Okay, so I like this card and I hate this card for a very specific reason.
Well, let's talk about what you hate first and then what you like about it.
It's Gize.
Yeah.
It's the Gize Angel Feather builds that I hate about this. Because it was already bad enough to try to kill Gize at 6. Now you have to kill him at 8? No.
7, then 8. 7, then 8.
7, then 8. Okay, yeah. But let's be real. I know, it's not always going to get the 8. Sometimes it will become the 7. But you also got to remember of how good Angel Feathers could stall the game to the point where they'll get to the 8. Honestly, this is a thing. I'm kind of pissed that I didn't get a chance to do a list on what should have got hit with the recent ban list. But honestly, I feel like the choice of switching between this and Gize should have definitely been a thing, because this could kind of cause a lot of issues. Not to mention, now that we got the other stuff that can get you to GB very quickly, this makes it even worse.
Oh.
It's all it is a late game card, which is understandable, but it's not as late game as people think it is. And trust me, it can get to GB3 pretty quickly, and it can get to let me see, it can get to 5 or more face-up cards pretty quickly, especially when you consider like G Guardians exist, Jazz hands,
And the Megacolony stride too.
Don't.
We'll talk about that in part 2.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that. But I'm just saying, like, hey, look, we can do this. You can do this with this card, huh?
But
So what do you like about it?
if it's not paired up with Gize, it's actually a pretty decent game. Because I'm gonna be real with you, I'm a sucker for gimmicks, and that is a pretty interesting gimmick. Honestly, if the gimmick was meta enough, I would actually prefer a gimmick strategy over a strategic one any day. And this is kind of it.
Unless that gimmick is OP.
Oh my god, yeah, that's true. But I also have to say, and what gives it a very interesting boost, in my honest opinion, is this is way better than what they got in last year's collection.
But League.
Well, I would say it really depends, because some people view the heal 2 as a pretty good effect, but yeah. I mean with the new stuff, combo, I can see why you'd say that it is better.
But the Gize thing makes it cancerous, but outside of Gize, it's a pretty interesting strategy, so I have to give it like a 7.5 out of 5 on that one.
7.5? Okay.
You do know 7.5 out of 5 is over 100%, right?
I mean 7.5 out of 10. Not bad.
No. He means 7.5 out of 10 or out of 5, but that final result times 2. Somehow that makes your math goes. That makes sense.
That's like over 200%.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Okay, obviously we can't math, so we shouldn't be we shouldn't be doing this then.
And this is why I'm here. Jokes, by the way.
So I don't have a lot of experience with Angel Feather. I really don't. I'm looking up the last year's stride real quick, because I although I have a few of them, I'm like, I don't know what this does. I know what it does, but
I recall it was Ditch 2, Heal 2, right?
Tenor 3, turn card face up, discard 2, heal 2, yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, this works for that. So this is actually really funny, because you brought up that this is a good extender for Gize. But to the other Angel Feather player that don't play Gize, this is actually a really good way to go against Gize. You're accelerating your G zone to be 5 or more, so you take the 8 damage. You have last year's stride that you can counterblast 3 and you heal 2. So you're kind of flexible in terms of your damage. So if you end up getting Gize and taking the 5, okay, whatever. Go ahead, give me 5. I get to sit at 8. So I'll probably just be at 6 or 7 at that point. The counterblast 4 skill, that's that's horrible. No, that's good, but that's just I think that's a fair skill, though. I think the counterblast 4, they have to draw with whatever cards in your damage. That's fine. That's totally cool. Again, I don't have a lot of knowledge with Angel Feather, and it's something that I do kind of want to work on. Thankfully, with the reprint set coming out soon, that could be a thing. So I I don't understand a lot. There's a lot of potential combos, but because I'm so uneducated on it, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. That could change, but for right now, it's a 6.
That's understandable.
Yeah, and for personal opinion with this one, like I've got a decent amount on Angel Featherwise. Based on what I've heard and everything, and based off of what I've seen, it's okay. Mostly because of the fact that people were complaining the fact that you can't first stride this versus like all the other strides, so it kind of hurts that idea. Since it needs the GB3, but I will say this in a standard plus deck, focusing on say Malkuth, like the Malkuth deck, this is a pretty good stride as long as it's not your first stride. Because then being able to be at, to lose at 7 or 8 makes it really really good. Because then Malkuth has more uses. Like you can keep using Malkuth's skill, that and then also combo Metatron, and also like you get more resources to kind of use your stuff, and it also prevents your opponent from 6 damage healing. That's one other thing. Second effect with Counterblast 4. I mean, considering the deck just kind of, I don't know, CCs a lot because of rescue checking, and especially if you look at premium, there's a lot of premium cards that just rescue checks. That Counterblast 4, I feel like it doesn't really matter as often, just because you'll have the resources to do it. And remember, like you can Malkuth, you can like say Malkuth heal 1, and then do something or like stride into this, and then get more CC going or stuff like that. There's just multiple ways to kind of work with, but. Like I've seen what people have said and everything. Perfectly honest, I feel like this is like a 4 out of 10. It's okay. It's okay. Like, but I don't think it's like it actually I don't think it's good enough to be above 5. Mostly because one, it's GB3, so you can't even first stride this thing. And no one's gonna Counterblast 4 on turn 1, or I mean turn first stride. You're not. I mean, unless you're gonna, go all in and Counterblast 4. If your opponent's at 2 damage, it's like, yeah, it's not really worth it. When, especially the fact that people have G guards and stuff like that. So that's why it's at 4 for me. There's a lot of good benefits, but it's too late by the time you hit GB3. For this to be live. So, unless you're stalling or you play Gize, that's like the only benefit for this card. That's it. So, yeah, 4 out of 10.
Okay. Let's do Dragon Empire, and then maybe we'll call it there.
Oh yeah.
Because we are taking care of the 2 biggest nations in one. So, plus my starting to kick in. So let's knock out this one, and we'll do part 3. Yay! Because we've already talked about part 3. that we would do that, or we can just knock out the rest of the clans apart. We'll figure it out. So I'll go ahead and do the next one.
Okay.
All right. So now we're moving into Dragon Empire. Or Overlord the Nation.
Overlord the clan. Because I wouldn't say nation, because people will argue Tachikaze.
Overlord the Nation. Whenever you think of Dragon Empire, you automatically think of Genomic Overlord. Proven fact. Science.
Tell that to Touchy players. Tell that to Touchy players.
Where are they? They're extinct. I have the book. It's called All My Friends Are Dead. Oh wait, that's just the standard edition. Never mind. So,
yeah, I'm like standard.
Yeah, that's the standard edition.
So Supreme Heavily Animated Dragon, Zen Bus Dragon. I can't talk crap on Tachi's because just they're dinosaurs, and I'll sidetrack just a little bit. You can edit this out of yours. I'm gonna keep it in mind. But so Brooke and I, we had our wedding not last Saturday, but the Saturday before. And so it was a little backyard wedding, whatever. You know, I'm waiting out there for her, and her maid of honor was just like, "You ready?" I'm like, "I'm ready for that. I'm super ready." She's like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So the March of the Bride, or whatever the song's called, plays, and she walks down the aisle in the inflatable T-Rex costume.
What? And you didn't post a picture of that?
No one. Yeah, we got pictures.
I must have missed that.
I think she posted them.
Oh, okay, never mind. That explains everything.
That would explain. Yeah.
So, or someone did. I don't remember, but
I think she did.
So she walked down the aisle, and then as soon as she got to where we were at, she just unzipped it and got out of it. So I'm just that time my bride was reincarnated as a T-Rex. So I can't touch.
Isn't that a manga too? Like a.
Oh my god! It probably, or that time my bride turned into a dinosaur. I don't know. It probably is, or it will be one next year. Hey, let me get some royalties on that. So Zen Bus Dragon. The guy from WCC covered this, so we'll go real quick. Act on Vanguard once per turn. Cost: turn a card in your G-Zone face up. Retire all your opponent's radars, and all your grade 3 or greater units gain 10,000 power to the end of the turn. So I remember I was talking with you, Mr. Dr. Professor Chaos, and you're just like, this isn't that good. Overlord doesn't need this. Well, Overlord, yeah, true. Overlord doesn't, because it's got other choices. But I with some of the cards that we've seen already be revealed for Booster 8 with Kagero, it looks like they want to start having grade 3s on rear guards. To some extent, so I think this card is one of those. Again, it's a standard plus support card.
Yeah.
It's also really good support for Blade Master. And it's really good support for those that still want to play Blaze. I mean, it's simple. It's a free board wipe for just turning something face up. Let's see. What would I rate this? I mean, it's just a good utility, but it just kind of depends on what you're playing against. But I mean, retire all can literally be translated as none. So even if they have an empty field, you can still do the cost and then have your grade 3 or greater units, including himself, gain power. So I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Now tell me how I'm wrong, Mr. Dr. Professor Chaos.
I was gonna let Zoo Nation go first, and then I'll put in my input with, keeping in mind both of your guys's.
Alright, so this was one of the first cards that I did do a brief video on, and honestly, I kind of feel like that it does help a little bit out when it came to like the Blaze mechanic. But I feel like it also helped out when it came to going against XL. Like, I kind of feel like that if hate cards existed in Vanguard, this will be the hate card for XL clans. Because we're starting to notice now that XL clans are starting to redo their field very quickly compared to how it was like a year ago, where it was like, if they lose their field, they technically lost the game.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like that this is kind of sort of an answer to it. It's pretty simple. It doesn't really do much though, but it does kind of help out a little bit. And I just like the simplicity. It's not as good as Dumjid was. I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
as good as it's not as good
Or
as Dumb Jit, because
Dumb-
Dumb Jit is
Dumb Jit.
amazing.
Dumb shit.
That stride is stupid.
It's dumb shit.
So like I can understand why Mr. Chaos here don't really like it from what I'm hearing, because this is the first
Mr.
time
Dr. Professor.
Dr. Professor Chaos. Okay. So Mr. Dr. Professor Chaos is hating on his card, and I can kind of understand from a standpoint as a why. Like, I may not be like a Kagero expert, but I've dunked my shoe in the pond a few times playing this clan to know.
I have never heard that expression before.
I don't know where I was going with that expression.
I think the expression is dip your toes in the pool.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But sticking your feet in the pond, I mean, I guess that technically works too.
But yeah, overall, if you were to look at it from a standpoint comparing this card to Dumb Jit, it is like a 2 out of 10. But in reality, it's more like a 5 out of 10, to be honest.
Okay.
So
Please take it away.
So the funny thing is, I actually would have rated the same thing, 5 out of 10. Mostly because all it does is just board wipe the entire board, and it really only does help, I feel like, a budget Kagero deck that's not Overlord specific. And mostly because they did get a rare grade 3 where on Van or rear continuous during your turn, if your opponent has no rear guards, this gets plus 10,000 power, and then secondary effect on Van or rear, CB1 and pop a rear, and then if you have another grade 3 rear guard, you pop 2 instead of 1. So like that, this thing kind of just saves resources and just powers up your rears and Van and everything. Only problem is that I wish it was a good support for Blade Master, but Blade Master's an act for the token, so it kind of just defeats the purpose. And when I made the joke on this card, because it was called Zambust Dragon, I was like, this card was a really big bust for a stride.
You have your master's degree. You minored in puns.
So my main thing about this is that while board wiping is nice and all, most clans now can just shit out a field with with barely any resources. I mean, can't say much about plants anymore because Katrina's gone in 2 days.
Part 2, I will explain why that doesn't really matter. But continue.
Yeah, but so like Katrina's gone, but that still doesn't change anything because of the fact that if one card can generate a second card for free in some way, shape, or form, then that defeats the purpose of a board wipe. Because it's like, oh, if I have 2 cards that become 4 on board, then me board wiping a whole thing means nothing, to be honest. So like, if you want to get to Excel and they have 6 circles and they only need to play like 1 card and just shit out 4 or 5 rear guards, and with just that 1 card, what's the point? Because they can just 1 card into 6 in 1 shot and build that board back up again with just that 1 card. Like that's my gripe with Zambust, is just, okay, it's a board wipe, it's a nice one-off, don't get me wrong, but that's it. Like, that's all it can do, is you just pop a board and that's it. I'd rather go Doomjid and force the restand, if anything, or force my opponent to guard differently, because then the restand can hurt. But don't get me wrong, like, Zambust does have its use, but not as much as, like you said, Doomjid or like heck, even Ziegenberg can kick this card's butt. it has retire and restand. So the same with Doomjet has retired too. So like, yeah, it's nice, but overall, yeah, it's a little lackluster for a card. So 5 out of 10. Yeah. If Blade Master wasn't all I have to say is if Blade Master was an on-ride creative vision token and then you stride into this, then I would probably go up a little bit on the ranking. But yeah, can't get whatever. Can't get all what you want. So.
All right, so let's move on to the next one. Nubas.
You want to do Nuba because you play Nuba?
Yes.
Good, because I don't want to try to pronounce that name.
Okay, so Rakudo, Demonic Dragon, Jaku Metsu.
It's just Meso.
Meso.
There's no
Jaku
Metsu.
Simple. When it attacks, cost retire 2 grade zeros and turn a card from the G zone face up. Draw 2 cards. Return all of your rear guards to your hand and call up the 2 cards in your hand to the rear guard circle. If you call 2, this unit gets popped 10k plus 1 critical to the end of the turn. I have been play testing this card. I've been shadow play testing this card because quarantine and everything else. But I've been shadow play testing this card, and I've got to say the draw power, the raw power, everything that this card can do with the right cards in the right hand on the field is ridiculous. Like, originally, the discard turbo, you had to put a lot of draw triggers in it. I'm just running just a straight draw PGs and that's it. And maybe 1 extra draw trigger just in case. But you get so much hand from this card. It's ridiculous. And not to mention, there's so many dumb things that you can do with this. For a prime example, did you know that if you were to attack and you were to pry and your opponent somehow got a damage trigger, somehow got a damage trigger out, all that, you use Jaku's effects to return everything. And one of the things that you call is Unagi. And Unagi resets it to 11.
It's like
which card?
Wait, what is it called? Unagi, or what is it called?
Like Unagi is a eel.
Unagai, or Unagai.
Oh, Ungai. Oh, Ungai.
Yeah, Ungai. Oh, that's how you say it. Okay, Ungai.
Yeah, I'm like, Unagi, what?
Yeah, Ungai. That's what that guy's name is. Use Ungai, and it resets it back to 11.
Right.
And it's like, you got that damage trigger for nothing. It may not be as good as how Blue Waves did it, where you just stayed at 11 and regardless of what happens, you don't increase. But still, it is good enough. And then on top of that, with the discard turbo in the Crow, imagine losing all of your hand. You still have to deal with the attacks, and then you have to deal with 2 to 3 more attacks, with one of them being a built-in critical.
Sounds like someone's gonna have a rough day.
Oh yes.
So how would you rate that?
9.5 out of 10, because the thing that I like about this card is, for one, it's less situational compared to what we got last year. Where last year, prior to this card, Nubatama didn't have a first turn stride without going second on the stride turns. But now, regardless of what stride turn you're on, this card does everything with wonders and even more. So 9.5 out of 10 for me.
I did play Nuba at one point. It wasn't really good, but I did. Okay, so what I like about this card is it's more one of those standard plus cards. This absolutely supports Hanzo, especially with the evil decoy tokens. There you go. You just poop out your 2 evil tokens and just eat them up, or wait, poop them and yeah, sure. We'll go with that logic. Just so you can do this effect. I think that's really cool, unique. You can do that with your evil decoy engine cards, just so you can start getting advantage. And yeah, this card is kind of a built-in, 5 attacks if done correctly. Maybe more if you end up hitting a stand. I don't have a lot of knowledge with Nuba aside from Dominate. But it's really good, and I now that I've heard you talk about it, there's definitely a lot of potential. Because that was one thing that I found really awkward too, was it doesn't have a good first turn stride.
Not anymore.
It really doesn't. But now this card is your first turn stride. I'll give it a 7, a very, very conservative 7.
So when I read this, also stands won't do anything because you bounce everything.
Oh,
so,
that's right. That's right.
You bounce everything call 2. So
never mind. Never mind what stands in. Never mind.
Yeah. I will say, it is a really good card. What reminded me what this does, or what the similarity of this card to other cards is Olivia. For Bermuda Triangle, Olivia kind of had the exact same idea. When you declare an attack, pay cost, bounce. Theirs was bounce 3, call 2, or what was the other one? Ulk kind of did exactly the same idea. Bounce, however many, call 2 or something like that. So kind of gave me that idea, the same idea of it. Bounce everything, call 2, and then in a lot of sense I feel like people will just call 1 column and that's it, because if you call 2 columns and somehow they get a trigger, the 2 columns don't really do anything after that. It's a risk, it's one of those risky maneuvers you have to go with. But it is a decent card. It's good for Hanzo, Hanzo, Zangetsu, and then whatever the grade 1 that can, make 2 tokens as well. So it's good for that, hand wise. It gives you some potential, but it kind of, if you have extra decoy tokens, it's kind of a waste. So you kind of have to play around with the fact that it's like, okay, I need only 2 on board because they're just gonna get bounced back, and it'd be a waste if they get bounced back. Also with this idea, you're only swinging for 27 at most with the Vanguard, probably 37 if you use the crit. So at least you get that. I think overall, I say, because it's a decent first stride, it's like a 7. That, and it works with Hanzo, so that's why I would put it up there. Right now, Nuba has a really hard time trying to get a decent first stride. Most people use Mug Tembu and stuff like that, and not many people are a big fan of it, because what happens is people just don't play a rear guard against Nuba until they go their first stride, and it's like boom, let's go. So it just kind of defeats the purpose. At least with this, you can work with something at that point.
True.
So yeah. So yeah, 7 out of 10. It's pretty good. Pretty helpful.
Alright, next card.
So, okay. Do you want Tachi? Soonish?
Okay, yeah, I'll also take Tachi's my last one.
Okay, I'll take. Do you want Naru or do you want Mura? I'll let you choose.
I'll take Naru because I have to give some Narutami players some mad respect.
Okay, so I'll take Mura, the most degenerate clan for a little while. And it's coming back. So, Ambush Demon Stealth Beast Nue Dio, or what people dubbed it as the Tiger King.
These people aren't going to financially recover.
No, they're not. So this thing, Act G Zone, another G Zone affecting card. If you have 5 or more units of the same card name each, and your Vanguard is grade 3, pay the cost of Soul Blasting 1, and you stride this card on your Vanguard circle from face down. And during the battle, this unit attack this turn, your opponent can only call cards from hand to guard circle, and must call 5 or more cards at the same time. So they can't G guard. They must either throw 5 down and guard this thing, or take it essentially. And then the second effect, Auto Van, when he attacks, flip over a G unit, or turn a card from your G zone face up. Stand all of your rear guards with the same card name as one of your rear guards. So not only does this facilitate multi-swing, but this makes one of the standard plus decks really strong. And for people who don't realize, or who probably got an idea, it's Hyuga. Hyuga is the one main deck that this is going to benefit more, because you turn everything into Hyuga, and then you just stride into this dude, and then look, I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 attacks /9 with the Vanguard. So, and if you combo it right with Hyaki Vogue and some other BS like Meomaru, and if you got lucky and got that 1-0 Shiryuki on board, and the center arrestor, man, that turn is gonna be
Shiryuki at 4 now.
right, because that's only at 1 in standard.
In standard, yeah.
Never mind. Yeah. So So the never mind. Yeah. So you can combo BS with it. Hyaki Vote, Shiryuki, the center arrestor, Meomaru. Yeah. Let's just Bermuda number in premium, and just go 9 attacks on their turn 2, by the way. There are ways around this, because you can damage starve them to 0, like legit just give them 0 damage, and they can't first stride into this and try to beat you down. But I mean, that requires a little bit of playing the 1k less than your opponent kind of idea, and it's not always effective. I will have to say, I don't know why they thought this was a good idea. Yes, I know it helps Hyuga and stuff like that, but to be perfectly honest, it's not really necessary. It really isn't. Could have found a different way, But overall, they didn't need that second effect, I feel. First effect was already pretty good in my opinion, or maybe like a down-powered second effect. But in terms of rating-wise, if I rated this, I feel like it's a 9.5 out of 10. Because there is a downside to it, but at the same time, that downside means nothing when Hyuga in Premium is in full power mode. And between the Meomaru and all this other stuff, it's like, oh, let me just Bermuda number 9 times at your face. So fair. So fair. So, I just don't see a good light in this matchup at all. Again, it's the idea, if you go first with Mura, you die. You can, or I mean, not you die, but whoever is going against Mura is probably gonna die if you give him 1 counter blast. So
True.
yeah, 9.5 out of 10. That's my rating for this card.
All right. So before I give my opinion, you said the secret word. You said 0 damage. So you guys can use my promo code Ezel Sempai at 0 Damage Gaming to get yourself 10% off those amazing playmats.
God
Anything
damn
else
it.
that they have.
God damn it. I cannot believe I accidentally
I thought I
plugged it.
turned the ad blocker off. I mean on.
The cool thing. Okay. So it's just a promo code. It's all caps. So you can go to 0 Damage Gaming, get yourself a playmat. They're a little pricey, but they're really good. I know I'm side tangent. I'm not sponsored or anything, or unless because I have a promo code. I guess maybe I need to talk to them about that. But I personally don't get anything out of it. It's a satisfaction. So when people tell me, "Oh yeah, I used your promo code," I'm just like, that makes me happy. So you know that Night Rose playmat that's on sale for them right now? You can use my promo code, get 10% off that order. Free shipping in the US too. So okay, now it's my turn to talk about this card. Oh, there's not a lot to say because I just said a lot about that promo. But yeah, no, this card is the literal embodiment of Standard Plus, in my opinion. This card is made specifically for Hyuga. Specifically. And it's just, oh my god. The 9 attacks is, I mean, the cool thing is those 9 attacks are probably, or at least the first couple will be really small so you can guard them.
No, they're not.
They're not?
They're not.
No. Miyomaru and between the use of Miyomaru and like I said earlier, Miyomaru and Hyuga Vogue literally makes Bermuda numbers. Hyuga Vogue will make it make an Excel column, an Excel circle 27, possibly 32 if you're lucky. And then Miyomaru bumps everything up for 5k.
So this is why you play GB Turbo Angel Feather, so you can use the Angel Feather card we talked about previously. So you can afford to take a bunch of these hits.
But you'd have to be able to second stride that, and this can be done on first turn grade 3.
You got. I would say give people hope, but I'm like, no. You're Mr. Doctor
You're talking,
Chaos.
you're talking to the wrong person for that. When have I ever given people hope?
I can't see this card being that good for the meta. I mean, it by itself, it's good, but it's only good for Hyuga, unfortunately. So, I know a lot of Murakumo players are going to hate me for it, but, it's only good for the one deck. So, yeah. I'm going to give it a 6. Go ahead, hate me. Because I know in Karma, I'm going to lose to this as soon as we're able to play physically.
Oh, God. I will say one thing. There is a counter to this card. And it's a light elemental from Divine Dragon Caper.
I know which one. I know. I have like multiple copies
just
of
drop
that.
Hanali. That's right.
Yes, yeah. You literally have to open Hanali on first 3 turns. If you can open Hanali within the first 3 turns and you just play it on board, the only way they can actually get rid of it is to spin it back. But there's no spinning on turn 3 because they don't have a grade 3 in the soul. Unless they can somehow soul charge it randomly with that grade 2, That's like the one problem. But or you find a way of superior call it onto the board. But yeah, there's ways, but Hanali is like the hard pseudo counter to the deck. But then again, that's assuming people run Hanali.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Back to you. I just wanted to throw that out.
Wait, what's the rating? Oh yeah, that's what you already said.
I said 9.5. Ezel said 6.
So this is something that I'm still kind of playtesting out because I just need to figure out maybe like a couple of more stuff for it. But yeah, Yeah, I kind of agree with Ezo a little bit. It does kind of feel like it was basically for the what is it
Standard post.
yeah for
For-
Yuga.
For Hyuga.
I don't know why Yuga blinked this. It's for Yuga, but it could also work for the other few stuff that was given to us as standard, like Dual Dragon and Mandela Lord.
I think Mandala is like the second best out of that in terms of multiple copies of the same card.
Yeah, which is true.
Yeah.
There's definitely like some things that you can do with Mandela Lord, and it does kind of work with this.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, he's the closest one.
Yeah, he's the closest one. I mean, you probably won't be able to get like the free stride after stride phase with Dual Dragon with it. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, because you need 5 specific copies of the same card. Yeah, five or more units with the same card name each. So,
Yeah, that's okay. That's true.
yeah, that's why
So,
Mandala is probably like the only closest one. Otherwise, unless you can somehow copy, then But it's almost impossible to get 5 without the Hyuga.
Yeah,
Or
that's
Mondo.
actually kind of true.
Until we find out fall support.
Oh yeah, with Yasuo.
Yeah. There's that, but yeah, but aren't we? But we're getting this before Yasue, so that'll be later. That'll be later on.
Possible
the-
future proofing.
I mean, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But for now, like with what we've got within the release time, that's Hyuga or Mandala. For budget, Mandala is the budget. That might also be why not Mandala, but Hyuga got hyped up for a little while because of this.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So what would you rate this card?
I'll rate it like an 8.5. To be honest. It is a pretty dangerous card. Even if it only works for 2 particular decks, it is a pretty dangerous card. Plus,
Yeah.
I think some people are kind of forgetting about the Metamorphox dual weapon combo too.
Oh right, Metamorphox has that thing too. Oh, I actually forgot that.
Yeah.
Metamorphox can copy names. Metamorphox can copy names.
Yeah.
So Mandala. So yeah, Mandala is the second best out of that in terms of budget. So yeah.
All right, what are we talking about next?
What we have a dinosaur and we have a lightning dragon. So rock paper scissors.
Let's end it with a bang. Let's talk about Narukami last.
Okay. Yeah, we could definitely do that.
You're up. Oh, okay.
Because I accidentally closed the wrong one. Okay, there we go. Destruction Tyrant Gentraptor. Man, that's an interesting one. Once per turn, when your rear guard is placed in your hand, you may put 3 cards in the drop zone face down as a quick gauge for that unit. And the second ability is when it attacks, counterblast 1, turn a card from your gaze and face up, stack all of your rear guards with 3 or more quick gauges each. Choose the same number of your opponent's rear guards, those units in entirety. My God. When we had that February list, they hit Anchor Blade of the 1. They massacred my boy. And then he got
In standard.
Yeah, in standard. He got massacred in standard because he got put to 1. And then they reincarnated him as a Strahd. And I was like, bruh, Anger Blader 2.0. back at it again with the bullshit. But man, what I do like about this effect that you do get to start recovering stuff from the grave and putting it as like input games. Because I'll be real with you, like decking out is not fun. This is one of those decks that definitely could deck out pretty easily if you like go overboard. Like this, Grand Blue, and Great Nature are like the big three when it comes to, oh yeah, I have all this advantage, but I can also deck out at the same time.
Why can't I hold all these cards in my deck?
Exactly. You're gonna end up like that one possessed thing that Merrick tried to possess, you know, the guy with the revival gem.
Oh, right, yeah.
Strings?
Yeah, that one. You're gonna end up like Sims. With the revival jam there.
So it ends up still getting support anyway, so it's like, the hell?
I know, right? But, what I feel like Tachikaze definitely needed was some type of way to recover. Like, just probably, you know, get more cards back into the deck. Like, I kind of feel like those three particular decks that I said, well, kind of sort of Grand Blue, I kind of feel like it's 50-50 with that. But anyway, when it comes to trying to save yourself from decking out, I kind of feel like they need their own Dream Dragon. Which, let's be real, I don't understand why Genesis gets to have a Dream Dragon and not the other two decks that definitely needs it. More
Because Genesis deck thins a lot more?
Because Genesis is childish. That's essentially
I mean, Genesis copies everything from other clans. So.
Oh yeah, that dude's sort of a copycat.
Sorry, Mama Minerva.
Okay, Minerva and maybe Armorita gets a pass, but that's besides the point.
Fender is just out in the doghouse outside. It's like, what do you do?
Only because Fenrir is more for the ladies. So let's be real. But
You mean Fenrir is more for the friggin' furries? If anything, Altmile is for the ladies.
You know, there's a particular artist who would probably have a couple of interesting words to say about Altmile and Fenrir.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh my god.
So how would you rate the card?
Oh, I'll definitely rate this I'll definitely rate this a 9.5 out of 10. Well, this, I thought the stride that they came out with like last year was good. Ooh, this is even better.
Gluttony Dogma. Right.
No, Gluttony. It was a Gluttony, but it was a
Gluttony Neberos.
Neberos.
That was it.
It was Dogma. It was Dogma on the steroids.
That's right. So, yeah, no, that time my dinosaur got reincarnated as another dinosaur. Again, this is another example of like the Markuma one. This is one of those that's specifically built for Standard Plus, and I honestly think that is a good strategy for them to try to market like that. And I think it's smart. It is smart. Sweeper Contest just has way too much kind of advantage. Once you get that 3, you can't hit it unless something happens. I don't know what would, but also it falls under the same kind of weakness as Murakumo. You can just drop Hanali. Up until that retiring effect happens.
You'll probably still minus the attacks because you don't want to eventually get to that 5th attack. But you would still kind of stall out the maximum attacks that you would have originally got if you didn't have Honor Guy. Because you gotta remember, like, Tachikaze doesn't really have like anything that can like force a tiger prior to like most of the strides anyway.
Right. Again, my knowledge of Tachi isn't that much. I do want to eventually expand on it, but just from what I know of Anger Blader at full power and standard, I'll give it a 7.
I mean, the fact that when I saw this, it was the fact that it's Anger Blader 2.0, and the first effect of once per turn of hey, I play my sweeper Cano, and I just shoved 3 cards into it for free. It's like, I don't know about this. And then hey, let me just restand 3 of my rear guard, or I stand all my rears with 3 equip gauges. It's like, now I can see Tachi just go ham on this deck. Like they're like, I'm gonna play everything, and I don't care if I lose any of it, because they're all just coming right back because of the first effect.
I see this as an absolute win.
Hate you for that. God damn it. But yeah, no, and it's really nerve-wracking to see this kind of thing. I was like, oh my god, how this it's pretty dumb. I hated Tachikaze personally because I died on turn 2 and I didn't have anything set up at the time because I was playing this was pre Astro Force, and so I really couldn't do anything against Anger Blader at the time. But it is a very good card. I just don't like the fact that it's Anger Blader 2.0. But I mean, in Premium, it's not as crazy because you've got cards that can do stuff now to stop this kind of thing. Like, in terms of power, it's very, very powerful. But in terms of, say, whether it'll be relevant in the meta, I don't know. That's you know, we have Bermuda and all this other stuff. It's hard to say. So yeah, I would probably rate it like an 8 out of 10 just because of how much power it has. It's one of the top few that are really, really strong for what it does. But it is fragile. The deck is fragile. So like, it's super fragile because it needs to draw its pieces, needs 4 Anger Bladers and all this other stuff. So yeah, that's kind of my take on it.
All right. Now we come down to the final card we're going to talk about tonight because we've been recording for over...
Yeah, a little close to 2 hours.
Oh, a little over 2 hours. It's over 1 a.m. I'm tired. My sleeping medicine's kicked in. So, the final card for tonight. Conquering Supreme Dragon, Stunverse Dragon. So, at on Vanguard, toss Soul Blast 1, insert a card in your G-Zone face up. Put this card into your G-Zone face up. Your opponent chooses 4 cards, each from their rear guards and drop zone, and binds them. Yep. For every 4 cards in your opponent's bind zone, you draw a card. And your opponent chooses a card from his or her hand and binds it. Oh. Trishula? Right? Yeah. Sorta.
Yeah. It's a very powerful Trishula.
Even more so than what Trishula actually is. But no, this is
made it 4 times better.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Bushi just got so much hate for last year's Narukami strike. They're like, you know what? We're gonna open up heaven here, and here's Stunverse. There you go. I mean, it is a godsend compared to last year, but it's still like this is a good up to Vanquisher.
Oh yeah.
I still think this card still just works really well in the generic sense, but Vanquisher really hits this card into high gear. especially with all the binding that it does. You can say Gauntlet Buster too, but I think the start works better with it. It's just wow. The start's really good. I can't wait to start playtesting against it because 2 people I know are definitely at least when the card was confirmed, I know at least one person had to change their pants because it was so good. So I do see its kind of weaknesses, but the start's just it's gonna be good. It's gonna be really good, especially once we get the new Grand Blue support. And we kind of see what that all has to be dealt with, and this is a good answer, possible answer to it. So I will give this an 8 out of 10.
So I've playtested. I've seen playtesting of Stunverse already. Definitely by far, Fulgurate. In comparison to this, it ends up being that Fulgurate ends up being like a second or third stride after you use Stunverse, just because then at that point, once you've Stunversed like 2 times, Fulgurate is live, like the Thunderstrike and everything. That's automatically live, assuming you're going against a non-token deck. By the way, it's very, very like powerful. Oh, and this thing kills. Okay, so it's this idea that if this deck goes against Shadows and gets first stride, this deck kills Shadows, or this deck will kill Shadow, because their ritual is just gonna disappear in one shot.
I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, considering the fact that you board wipe 4 cards and then you bind 4 drop zone cards, unless your opponent really doesn't want to bind grade 1s or 0s, but if that's all they have, versus the Stunverse, it's really hard to come back from, because trying to get back to Ritual 10 and all you have is what, grade 2s and stuff like that, it's really like you're not gonna pull that off. So at that point you're playing OG, Shadow idea, or Shadow Paladin, where you run like Spectral Blaster, PBD, and all this other stuff. I will say it is a very good complement with Vanquisher, because what happens here is if you can somehow get a grade 3 into your soul and you Stunverse your opponent, right? If you're able to get rid of 8 cards in total, draw 2, or not 8 cards, if you can get 8 cards bounded, right? You draw 2, your opponent binds 2. If you vanquish your skill, you bind another card from their hand. So that's 3 cards gone from their hand if, as you add it up. And it just gets worse and worse from there. Like, the more you let Narukami survive, the worse it gets for you. Again, if you're playing a token deck, the token deck doesn't really care, because it's like, oh, okay, you get rid of all my tokens. Tokens don't even go into the bind zone, so that doesn't account for any number. I mean, your other cards in your drop zone, yeah, but big whoop. It's a very strong card. Yeah, you're losing an extra drive because of the fact that you have to destride him. But in the long run, it's kind of worth it. You're board wiping and everything. So I would say, but again, it's also a fragile deck in some way. You have to play it. You have to play Vanquisher Plus for this to even work the way it has to. So I would probably rate it at like a 7 out of 10, just because of its usability and everything.
We're at the home stretch. Come on.
Honestly, I feel like Vanquisher and Sanderson is it's too broken. I kind of want it going. I know I'm not the only one who kind of want it going, because it has way too much advantage. And then you brought it into premium. Now, because of this, I'm kind of 50-50, because I know what Vanquisher can do. I know what this card can do at the same time, and it is very ugly. But at the same time, you have so much power creep in this format coming up that I don't really want to say. I want to see what the results of this combo and what these cards can do before I'm going to bandwagon of, oh, I think this card needs to go. I want to see what it can do first.
Mhm.
So basically, it has my curiosity to see how far this goes. Because I mean, Narukami has always been that thing where they would get some very good strides with their soul situational that like they kind of don't really matter in, or Bushiroad would try to find a way to counteract those cards in some form or fashion. And because of that, I don't think that they really have like a decent stride zone. Or I should say their stride zone isn't as good in a timely manner. And with this card, it kind of sort of brings it up. And yeah, you are also kind of right. The longer that it survives, the worse it's going to get. That's kind of sort of what Neil Necker did back in the Geo too. But I don't know. I want to see what this can do overall. It's a very decent card, so I honestly have to give it maybe like an 8 out of 10, to be honest.
Okay. Whew. Well, that was a heck of a lot of fun. Like, I think the one that we ranked the lowest was Angel Feathers.
Yeah.
But it looks like across the board, all the numbers seem fairly even.
It was between 6 out of 10 to 9 or 9, yeah, somewhere around there.
So yeah, so that was our breakdown of United Sanctuary and Dragon Empire cards strides from Premium Collection 2020. So stay tuned for part 2, because that'll be up soon, probably, maybe. don't quote me on that. So let's go ahead and get that outro going.
Alright. Chaos, where can we find you?
You can always find me on the Starvader Chaos Burger Dragon page. There is a YouTube channel. I just don't really do much on it anymore, but if you look at my page, it should be there. I have a lot of past stuff that I've posted before, so if you want like old fights and stuff that I have done, I'll, it's up there. It's called Vanguards at the Round Table for the channel itself. Please like, comment, subscribe. I just haven't had time lately, but I might be able to put in some stuff due to the quarantine and everything. Please look at keep an eye up on updates and stuff like that, especially with the upcoming support for Kagero, Link Joker, and everything. I'm definitely gonna post up some more stuff and update my decks, so be on the lookout.
Alright, Ezel, where can we find you at?
Okay, you can find me on Facebook, Ezel Sempai. You can find me on Twitter, at Ezel Sempai. You can find me on Instagram, at Ezel Sempai. If you like the kind of content I do, and you feel like you want to support me, because why not, I guess, you can also find me on Patreon. Same name. There is a YouTube channel. Obviously, if you're watching it on mine, well, go ahead, hit subscribe. Do it. Please. I just got married. Please. I'm trying to be useful. But no, go check me out on all the social medias. I post memes. And if you can't tell, my meme game's pretty good. So go ahead, go check out the page, like that. We're close to 1,500. Maybe something will happen, maybe not, but go check it out. Go like the page. You'll see what comes up.
And my name is Mr. Z Nation, aka Savage on the Gentle Laugh, where you can find me, of course, on this YouTube channel. There's also has Savage Armor Ginger Raffle on my Facebook. And then I also do stream from time to time on Twitch. I'm playing some games. Right now, I'm switching in between Persona 3 and Yu-Gi-Oh! For some reason. I am actually going to try to start Vanguard 0. So that's going to be a thing.
Oh man, you're going straight into that hell, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm gonna try it out. One of my friends kind of like convinced me to try it out, so I'm gonna do that. And then I do have a separate group called the Hot Sticks Gaming, where it's basically us two. So you check that out. So,
Oh, hot sticks. Okay,
yeah,
I completely.
I know what you think.
For some reason, I had Kanye West in my mind, and so it was a Kanye West filter. So I'm glad that hot sticks gaming. Okay.
Oh no. Okay, I was thinking something completely different. Never mind. Anyway.
Oh my god.
I think Chaos caught on to it.
Probably, but I'm not gonna admit it because I'm just like, I don't even know if that's even the right thing.
But anyway, I miss this. I miss doing this with everybody else in the Vanguard, with the round tables and everything else like that. I miss this. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, this was fun. It was a wholesome experience. If we can do it a little earlier in the evening, that'd be great because it's 1:20 right now. I gotta be up in 6 hours.
Alright, so peace out, everybody.
Alright, see ya.
Y'all have a good night. Stay safe. Stay away from Bermuda 19. Wash your hands. Wash your damn hands.
Wear your masks, hand sanitizer, everything.
Wash your damn hands.
Stop wearing gloves in public and throwing them into the ground too.
Because that's stupid, and it just is bad.
And don't slap people with it. We all know people want we all know y'all want to duel people, but don't.
But we play Vanguard. We don't duel. We just fight with our fists.
We car fight.
Exactly.